Kabushi, GC Kalushi, the councillor, senior government officials. May I just say good morning, everyone. Honorable ministers, I would request that maybe apart from the media who are already familiar to you, the rest sitting on the high table introduce themselves, ending with the GC Kalushi, who will invite you to address the press. Colleagues on the table, senior government officials, may you kindly introduce yourselves.
It's important to capture the people who are here in media so that you can see that other ministries are also here.
Good morning, Honorable Minister. I am from Bawesi, provincial officials and livestock coordinators.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. My name is Eric Chirwa. I'm the acting provincial data coordinator from the Ministry of Agriculture.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. I am Nancy Pirichileshe, Senior Agriculture Officer, Kalushi District, at the same time acting Dago Kalushi District.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. Good morning, Honorable Ministers. My name is Vivian Narula.
Ministers, good morning. My name is Akare George, Regional Coordinator, GML.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. I'm Changu Mtinta Chilupia, the District Disaster Management Officer from Kabuswe.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. My name is Chitika Ngobanda, District Fisheries and Livestock Coordinator for Kalushi District.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. I'm Crispin Smonza, Regional Manager, Zema.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. With your permission, we can have from Zim Management introducing themselves as well as senior mentors.
Good morning, Honorable Minister. My name is Jimmy from Longshin Investment.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. My name is Elisha, the Assistant Manager Director of Longshin Investment.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chileya Sydney, Deputy CEO for Senior Mentors.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. I'm Davis, representative from St. Metros.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. I'm Martin Amukusana, Assistant Chief Executive Officer for Senior Mentors.
You're also privileged to have councillors. Councillors, may you introduce yourselves?
Good morning, Honorables. My name is Beta Menga, Councillor from Wambashwat.
Listen, we can also introduce the affected.
Yes.
The representative of those who are supposed to be compensated because it's a joint meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, Ministers. My name is Hastings Banda, Councillor from Lamba Ward and Deputy Mayor for Kalurusi District. And my ward is affected and I've come with the farmers. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Minister. My name is Daudi Simama, Mayor Kalushi District.
We also have amongst ourselves affected farmers.
Good morning, Minister. My name is Mohamed Simkonda, one of the committee members representing farmers.
Once in no particular order.
Okay, good morning, Ministers. I'm Molo Ikela, affected farmer.
Ombeni wonse, Nebuga Commissioner Yanji, Funeka Rushu, what we shall be in a permanence from a damage.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. My name is Priyanka Chudena, Executive Member.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. My name is Abdel Njogu, one of the affected farmers from Kabuswe in Kalushi.
Good morning, Ministers. My name is Mabel Kabuswe, one of the affected farmers.
Good morning, Ministers. I'm Sharon Magan, affected farmer.
Mawombeni kwai inene majori muganga uri uri from affected to farmers. Sorry.
Honorable Minister, we are gathered here this morning so that the two ministers, the Copperbelt Minister, Honorable Elisha Matambo, with his counterparts, the Mines Minister, Honorable Kabuswe, are here to address the press on matters relating to the spillage that happened at Sino Metals, as well as the spillage that happened at Romzin Mine. Honorable Minister, it's my rare privilege to request you to speak to the press. Honorable Minister, sir.
Thank you so much. Let me recognize the presence of the Minister of Mines, who is also a Member of Parliament for Chilawombwe, Honorable Kabuswe, the presence of the Worship the Mayor for Kalushi, the District Commissioner for Kalushi, management from Sino Metals, management from Romfin, other government, head of government departments, and other officials from different ministries. Also, the affected farmers who are representing other farmers who are here. The media, let me just say, I observe all the protocol. I'll try to speak in English and Bemba, Lamba and everything so that our people, especially the affected farmers, will be able to pick what we'll be talking about. Nalaisha okulanda mu Kiwemba na mu Kisungu abati abantu besu bonse bambi nawe nabo nfufu tuleranda. The last time we had the joint press briefing, I think was way back when we had the accident at Sino Metals, and when we had also issues to do with the Romzin. And today it's important that we update the nation and everyone where we are in terms of compensation of our people who lost out because of what transpired at Sino Metals and also Romzin. And I will say some few things, and the Honorable Minister for Mines will also say, I think, a bigger part. Let me start with the saying that we are dealing with two companies here. There's Sino Metals, there's also Romzin. I'll start with Sino Metals. I think people may start thinking that it has taken a little bit long for our farmers and those who are affected to get their compensation. It was so because our people from different ministries, mainly Minister of Livestock and Fisheries, Minister of Agriculture, they had to go on the ground, checking field by field of those who were affected with the accident at Sino Metals and the Romzin, so that they can do correct calculations when it comes to compensation. I want to mention that, let me start with Sino Metals. They did their first calculations, which was brought to provincial administration. After we went through it, we came to learn that they left some things, because the bottom line is that our people should be compensated according to what they lost, and we don't want them to lose. Also, we didn't want to get people to be paid who they did not lose anything. Because I think in any situation like this one, you will find people want to take advantage and also claim that they lost something, when in reality they had nothing. So we were very careful to make sure that only affected people are compensated. So we had to, it was a multi-sectoral issue. I'm sure you know it involves the Minister of Copperbelt Province, which is provincial administration, who is the custodian of these mines, also custodian of the people who were affected. It involves the Minister of Mines, who runs these mines himself, Honorable Kabuswe. That's why he's even here. And I want to appreciate my brother who've been working side by side to try and make sure that our people are compensated according to what they lost. It involves the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock, it involves the Minister of Water, it involves the Minister of Green Economy, it involves, which is the other minister I've left out? Agriculture itself. So it's a multi-sectoral issue, and we are taking it in that way. Even when we started, I think you saw all these ministers visited these areas and were also involved to try and sort out this issue. Even when it comes to compensation, they are also involved. So the Minister of Agriculture, they were the ones who were tasked to go and check the size of the fields of people, what did they plant, what have they lost, what are the calculations like. That is the Minister of Agriculture. The Minister of Livestock and Fisheries were also tasked to look at who has lost, for example, fish in the fish pond, who lost the goats and other animals. They also went to do that work. So I'm sure you can see that it needed to do the work that was supposed to be done correctly. The Minister of Green Economy, they are the ones who are tasked to look at how is the soil of these fields. Are they going to be to use these fields next year? They had to go also, they were tasked to check if there's some damage to the soil. They had to go and do that work. The Minister of Water, they had to make sure that the water which our victims were drinking, for example, was safe. I think you can see the way I'm saying it's a multi-sectoral issue. And this is why it should be tackled with all the care, so that no one complains thereafter. So let me start with the affected farmers with cyanometals. There's this report which was produced by the Minister of Agriculture. In this report, they have calculated the loss of crops per each farmer using, for example, I'll give you an example. If it's maize, they were picking 1 hectare of maize. If somebody had to plant 1 hectare of maize, I think I want you to get this correctly as a media. If somebody had to plant 1 hectare of maize and they manage the crops properly, how much can be, approximately how much are they going to realize from that field of 1 hectare? They were coming up with somewhere around between 7.5 to 8 tons of what they will get from there as maize, and that translated to about 50,000 something, according to what is here. So now they were using that figure to calculate the size of each farmer, what they had. For example, if someone had half a hectare, it will automatically come to 25,000. Somebody had 1/4 of that, so they had to. They did that for each crop, and you know crops they sell differently. So that's a formula which they use for each crop. So before they went any further, we called farmers who were affected to say, this is how the calculation is going to be done, and they were all happy. I think they will speak for themselves. So now, we asked them, this calculation is for the loss which happened after the accident. For example, after the accident at Sinometos. This year. What about next year? Are they able to use these soils so that they can also plant their crops? The report which Zema gave us was that for the next planting season, it will be very tricky for farmers to use their fields because of the acidity which is still there. So the report is saying Sinometos and Roxine, they will have to continue working on neutralizing the acid in these fields by putting the chemicals such as limes, so that the other season our farmers will be able to use these fields. So now we said, now what happens because they are not going to plant their crops? So they will be compensated now another year farming season because they want to go back and use those fields. So in this report, there is compensation for what they lost and compensation for what they were supposed to plant next year. So they have put the compensation for the loss of crops and compensation for the soils for 1 year in this report. And we called the farmers and they are saying they are very happy with what has been done, and then they'll speak for themselves. So that is about Sinometos. Roxine has 3 categories of people. There are people who are going to be paid their crops, and according to what they have arranged, they will even vacate the land. Some of them, I think they're about 65. So now they will be compensated the crops. They'll also be given the money for the land. Initially, they came to say they were doing the calculation, which are almost similar to what I was explaining. How much is 1 hectare of land, for example, going to cost if I want to sell land? So they came up with a figure of 70,000 per 1 hectare. We said, I think people will be convinced. Can you go and negotiate? We calculate up to 100,000 per hectare, which I think they agreed. So they have done the calculation. If one is going to have a high land, they went to check how, and they will calculate what they were selling. People who will get their crops, loss for their crops, and then the money for the land. And there are those who are going to get loss for their crops and also loss for 1 year season, because they won't plant next season according to Zema, but the other season they'll be able to plant because these companies who cause this damage, they have been instructed to make sure that the soils are able to produce crops after this farming season, the other farming season. So those are the categories which are at Sinometos. When Roxine, yes. When it comes to livestock and the fisheries, they have calculated. Let me start with fish. They have calculated the labor to make a fish pond, for example, how much it's going to cost. They have calculated the number of figurines which are found in a particular fish pond. What is the size of the figurine? In short, they'll calculate the feed which they used up to the time when there was that accident. Then the projection of how much they were going to sell. Then they get the figure. Then because of the damage of the soil again, they will give them another cycle to say next season they won't be able to use maybe that fish pond because they still have to maintain the soil so that they'll be able to, the fish pond will be safe by then. So they're giving them another cycle apart from what they will get for what was destroyed. They'll give them another cycle, so it will be ×2 until we make sure that these fish ponds are able to accommodate fish and they can go ahead with their production. When it comes to fish, like things like goats, they have picked the price on the market, how much is the goats, and they maybe increase it a little bit, and that's what they will pay, including rabbits, any other animal you can mention. It's the same thing. So basically, this is what these reports are saying. So we have to call all the affected farmers, their representatives. First of all, the report from Roxin went back because they did not include the soils. So we said as ministers, no, they have to be compensated also on the soils. So that to take it back, that is what was causing these delays. We wanted our people to get the correct figures. So now that they are correct figures, they have gone through also, they are happy with the calculations. I think I will leave what will follow to my brother, the Honorable Minister, so that he can run through from here. Where do we go? This is why we want to, first of all, we want to be as transparent as possible with this issue. That's why we didn't want to invite Sinometos on their own or Longzin on that. We want farmers to be present. We want people from all the other ministries to be present, and we're also here in the media to be present. Maybe you may be interested in knowing the figures. The calculation which we put together, the all compensation, Sinometos and Longzin, it is coming to 16,241,294.58. That's the total, all these two companies. 16,241,294 kwacha 58 way. Of course, a bigger figure is going to Sinometos. So that's the total of what our people will be those people will be compensated. So where do we go from here? When are these people going to be paid? And what will happen? Is Sinometo, is Roxin ready to pay? I think that one now it is going to mining. I've done the part where I'm the custodian of the people. I would want to invite my brother, the Minister of Mines, and later on after this, we'll talk about the visit of the President. I'll say something. Honorable Minister.
Thank you. I want to recognize the provincial minister, my brother, Honorable Matambo, the district commissioner for Kalurushi. I worship the mayor. Of course, senior government officials who are here, and indeed our farmers who are affected, Sinometos is here, and of course, Longzin. Yeah, just to emphasize the point that my colleague and brother has mentioned, that we had to take this long so that we do the correct thing. We didn't want to rush. We know that a lot of our commentators were going all over the place to say that government has neglected the people that have been affected by the what's the word now? The pollution that happened. We want to mention that we had to take time to do the correct thing, like my brother said. Could we please control whoever is doing that with their phone? We wanted to make sure that we do the correct thing. So the commentators who were saying government has neglected, it's not correct. Sometimes government works quietly, engaging the farmers, engaging the experts to do the right things, the mining companies. And somebody even went to an extent, Honorable Minister, of accusing government of secretly having opened these mines and nothing is being done to help our people. And I'm sure you media carried that story. The opposite is actually the truth. The status quo remains. We have to engage our people. It's not an easy thing to go and measure farms. People needed to go and measure. They do all the correct things as was alluded to by the minister. And then, this is a multi-sectoral team that was doing all these things. So after they did the report, they submitted to the provincial administration as was instructed by all of us. And then the minister for the province alerted us that the report is in. So we are supposed to sit now as ministers from the affected ministries so that we now say, okay, this is the right thing, so that tomorrow nobody says, Kabuswe just got logs in and the sign-on and got the figures and gave people money, or they colluded with the Copperbelt minister. There is nothing like that. So we want all our colleagues now to look at the reports. They already have them. So we are convening a meeting earliest possible time, most likely Monday next week. We sit, go through, approve, and then pay our people. Also, the farmers themselves have gone through these figures and the processes. I'm sure you'll have a chance to interact with their representatives. They'll tell you that they are serious stakeholders stage by stage. In fact, there is a point when the report was brought to the minister, before he could circulate to us, he went through and said certain ABCD things have been missed. So the reports were sent back to the officials that were working on them. That is how much careful we've been to try and make sure that our people get the right compensation. And here we are, the reports are here, and we'll sit as ministers again, we'll go through. If there is no consensus, we'll still come back. It's better we delay and do the right thing than rush but do the wrong thing, just to please those that are saying government has neglected. So the status quo, members of the press, remains as it was. There is no authority yet to start operations. That still remains like that, because there are other processes and procedures that must be done before we go to that stage. So really, that is the next stage now. We'll sit as ministers and look at this report in the earliest possible time, because our people are also pushing, because as far as they are concerned, with what they have seen, they are happy. They want to be paid, but also you could be happy maybe, but there is something better. And that's why we want to make sure that we do the correct thing, we approve all of us, and then, allow the mining companies. As a matter of fact, the mining companies are also ready to pay. They are here. I'm sure you ask them. They want to pay like yesterday. They want to pay the compensations to our people. So we don't have a challenge with the farmers. We don't have a challenge with the mining companies that should pay the compensations. The monies are ready. The farmers are clear. The officials have done their part. It's on the part of now ministers to clear that. Then we move forward and allow that our people be paid. So really, that is where we are in terms of, compensating our people. So compensations will be done. Please carry this story. There is no one who has neglected anybody. Our farmers, we carry them along. We work with them, even up to this point. And that is why their representatives are here from both Longzin area and also the Sino, area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any question on these issues before we go to the presidential?
Yes.
I have a question.
No, maybe we can finish ourselves, then you go to the farm.
Yeah.
Is there any question about it?
Thank you so much. Are there any questions, especially from the press, to the two honorable ministers? Yes, Jasmine.
Yes, please. My name is Justina Matambo, and I just wanted to seek clarity from you, Honorable Minister of Mines. I just wanted to find out, are you saying that the document was not circulated before this event, and that's why you need to sit? And secondly, are you able to put maybe a date as to when you'll be able to convene and conclude? Because the incident happened in February, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And the farmers, the last time I engaged them, they have been waiting since February.
Yes.
So are you able to maybe put a date to when you'll be able to conclude?
So why we have done this presser today is to inform you the fact that the report is officially with us, because we didn't want to give you, something that is not presented officially, because it had to be presented, the provincial administration had to go through, and that's why I told you that at some point it was sent back, because certain things were left out which we thought and felt should be done. Then it is back with us. When is given the report, because of the way technology is, it's circulated through our platforms, and we have them. But we need to convene now and sit and say, okay, me, I've analyzed this, I've analyzed that as a ministry, and then together we say, okay, let's go ahead. Because if we discover that probably there's something that has remained as ministers, we'll say, no, send it back. We want this and this and this also added. And we are convening a meeting like yesterday. It is just that, bringing 4 or 5 ministers together, it's not easy. We are trying to see whether we can do it through technology by doing a virtual meeting, and then we'll be able to announce that now the monies have begun going to the beneficiaries. As in giving you a date, I think that is where I would end. I may not give you a specific date when this will be done. We do appreciate when it happened, but like we said, we had to send people in each field to go and measure. But also there was the issue of trying to make sure we are capturing true farmers, because we discovered others were lying, that were affected when in fact not. So we also needed to do an audit to make sure that we are capturing the right people. That was a process. We also had to go in the field. We also had to look at calculations and all those things. And that is why, we took this time. Like I said, we would rather you take more time and do the right thing than rush yet do the wrong thing, and our people will be hard done by. And that is why, we did what we did.
Yes, sir.
I would want to find out two questions. You mentioned, Honorable Minister of Mines, that you made sure the true farmers were captured. You mentioned that true farmers were captured so that due diligence is done. I want to find out if all these farmers, the land where they were cultivating is theirs and is on title road. Obviously, you find that they are doing that on someone's land. There are issues of people cultivating on land which is not theirs. Yes. Then the second one is we saw ZAP and the internal water taking a proactive role in ensuring that the tests for water is done, and ZAP had to use their choppers to spray lime in Kabuswe River, which was significantly polluted. Are these two entities paid by senators?
I think we need to be taking.
Maybe let's get another one.
Yeah.
Derek.
I'll need a pen.
Yeah.
Derek.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers. My name is David Chamba from Prime TV. Probably I'm going to find out what's the total number of the farmers that are expected to be compensated. Here they have we've captured the true farmers. Probably if you should give us the numbers in total as to how many are they, and also on the figures that have been mentioned that will come from Sino as well as Mujin. Are we able to differentiate the difference that Sino pay as well as Mujin? We bear in mind that the impacts are different on the ground. What happened, and also the composition itself. When exactly are we seeing it starting?
You're asking the same question.
Yes, sir. Afternoon, Ministers.
I want him to repeat the question just quickly.
Okay. Yes, I was saying I want to find out if cyanometers have paid ZAP and the Kana water. Actually, yes. Then he also.
Yes.
Then also, if these farmers that will be compensated are cultivated,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ministers,
yes.
My name is Elisha from Copperbelt. With regards to the settlement of 50,000 for agricultural damages, which you have reported as a Copperbelt regulation, said that it's tricky due to the acidity of the funds. Just how sure are we that possibly the acidity will be dealt with within that 1 year or more, like the buffer period, the buffer zone for this particular farmers? What occurs if we figure out that the acidity, the farms are still acidic after that particular period that we given them as yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Just want to write on the questions that Derek asked regarding how many farmers we're talking about. Does this figure also include the farmers affected in Central Province, or this is specifically just for Copperbelt?
Okay. Anybody else? Please
Yes,
don't fish if you don't have a question. Yes, sir.
Yes. My name is Tobin Ngombe from Zanis. And the compensation, how much will be, that's for the farmers which have been announced, about 16 million. How about the compensation for the damage they caused to the environment, especially the Kafue River, which affected many lives? How much have they been charged and how are they going to pay?
I think you can give it to questions.
Okay, thank you very much. So, in terms of whether the land is theirs, you know, when an occurrence like that happens, first and foremost, you look at the damage that has been occasioned by people that have been cultivating in that land. Because there is what is known as traditional cultivation and traditional land. And these people were affected. They had maize, they had fields within the areas that were affected. So really, the issue is if they were cultivating in those fields that it was their survival. It is just in order that they are compensated for the work that they were doing. That is why for example, when you are doing, I'll give an example of a mining license because that's where I am. Before you go to any site, there is what is called impact assessment. What is the impact of what you're doing to the communities that are seated there? All right? Whether they are titled or not, there is some compensation that accrue to them. All right? Because of some could have been traditionally there for a long time. So when the impact assessment is done, you don't really look at whether this person is on title. You just look at lives that have been affected. And that's what government is actually doing. So these are human beings who are surviving on that land with their small fields. So you can't just throw them away and say no because we are not titled. So we are not going to take care of you. So we are government and these are our people, and that's why we are there as government, is to take care of our people. So really, that did not arise. We just wanted our people that are affected in these communities to be compensated. Yeah. Then the issue of the river. The issue of the river, I think that Zema will be able to give a comprehensive statement because damage to the environment itself has got its own penalties. So even that will be announced to the nation. There is damage to the environment, damage to people's fields. Even that, in fact, it's a very important question that Zanisha has asked. That also has its own. Penalty units, and Zema Mine Safety Department. They will be able to come up with what will be the penalties because of damage to the environment. So all these things have got a way in which they are attended to. In terms of financing for the activities that we are taking place, I think that you remember even when we were starting this process, when the pollution happened, Sino themselves announced that they will support all measures that are being put in place. They will fund the activities, and even up to now, they say they will still do it through the disaster management and mitigation unit. So really, we haven't had a problem in terms of them supporting these activities even up to now. I think when you speak to the councillor, they are still providing water bowsers and up to now. So I think on that score, we cannot fault them. I think they've been, forthcoming in terms of the support that they give. Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Let me just add on what my brother, the Honorable Minister of Mines, has said. You asked about what will happen if they find that after the next farming season, the soils won't be okay again. I think we are depending on a government agency like them. They are going to work continuously with the cyanometers, for example, to make sure that this soil, after the next farming season, our people will be able to plant their crops. And I think they will continue working, checking, is it okay now, and things like that. I think they will be working together. So we are hoping that after next farming season, our farmers will be able to go and plant their crops. You asked about the total number of farmers affected. Loxin farmers, 253. Sino metal, 254 farmers. Total 507 farmers.
So are you able to repeat that?
Those who were affected with Loxin, 253 farmers. Sino metals, 254 farmers. Total number of farmers, 507. Unless there are other questions.
So that's for Copperbelt. You don't touch the other.
I think I called for this pressing for Copperbelt. This is Copperbelt. I don't want to touch my colleagues' territory. I don't know what's happening.
No, I asked some minister because the polluters themselves are from the Copperbelt, and this is what led to other provinces to be affected. So I thought maybe you could have that information.
I don't have that information. That's why most of these farmers, was when they were going to check, they even checked up to Pongwe. They don't have some farmers. Some farmers were affected there. So these figures I'm giving you are specifically for Copperbelt province. Yes.
We are done with questions from the press. Minister, with your permission, can the farmers speak?
Yes. Okay, maybe let's talk about presidential. Or maybe you want to finish this with them, then we come to presidential.
Yes.
Yeah, so that they don't mix.
We can have 2 or 3 people plan the call, give a farm. You can pose the question so that pass according to the question. Derek, can you ask the question first?
It's okay. Hapo pia nikaa hapo sasa.
Yala misanga kamera hapo pale, mara ita zoom.
Mwala tupera ko amashina list.
Shina lyandi nine Moffat Simkonda.
Emukaiwa Simkonda. Mule kitali kizenzi.
Yayimiri nako abalimi banono ku Kalubushi.
Kalusale.
Emukaiwa Kalusale.
Twefo kumfako kuli imwe. Pakwamba fibushe chishinka kutila you were engaged and you discussed and you have accepted the contents of the conversation.
Emkai kwamba fye epo fyambila abalingile okutwafu abaliponena mu bwangu sana sana ba agriculture baliponena mo bazema baliponena mo bonse kuliko kono obuteko baliponena mo balitwafa sana kabiri tuli abasuminisha okutila ati ife twapitiremo na bena kabiri fyo bapendele fya chishinka kabiri natutemwa tuli abasekelamo Emkai
Nga malonda kubushe mule ikarashani pali nomba monokutira from the time that the incident happened until the time that you will be compensated. Bushe mule ikarashani.
Kuikala kwesu kuliko takuli uko batina kufika hapo mulando wako bati tatwa tala tupitamo muri situation yaso so if yakulia yes fya lionaika elo kabiri basino meto bali yeshako kutwafwa bala tuletera kwe fya kulia lelo opo twasa chula ko fenia papene pamulando wakutila kwali ukwe bati bala tupela nombali nolpia so if yakulia batuletere nga twaibukisha ni pawano elo batuletere sakali abunga na saladi so ife fyakulia fyalipwa so kala ifina kumfika ukatika kosako mulandi wako bati paba kwati pakokola epo batwibukishe okusatuletera kwe fyakulia but in terms of amenshi bale twibukisha bala tuletera amenshi lelo bwafya fyo butule monako bwafya kuli butule bishoptilati akakantu batupendeleko benga tupela ku bwangu so that kambi okutwafwako tushiteko bwangu amataba idili ne yale monekako na yachipa so if twikere kwena life kaili bwino sana pantu if tunafikosa komkwa 1 February was it 1 February yeah 1 May yes 1 May yes
mashi winshi chimwinga kwatira bakateka pakumitimi na intunguru shami butukire pakusimufwane na bene bamigoja
mashi tukwete kuri bakateka yakutotela fie okukwata bakateka balesa kama na abana ngafino elo tule kabila sana sana kutila na abantu abo baletu mabaya bapela report yakutotela okufuma kuri fofwe farmers ukutotela okalamba tukesa totela ilo tukashimona chidina muminwe ilo tukashilanda boye bantu ukutotela lo dina insala usherefe pamashiwi kuti wafilo okutashabwini so tule bala bakateka tala tukatotela ilo tukashimona na muminwe so emkwai
We want to find out if you'll be willing to compensate the farmers when the report is out.
Are you ready to pay in short? Immediately.
We made our point.
Mimi ni niko boss. Mimi ni boss. Taturemi mwana.
Yes, exactly.
We've made our position as Sino Metals Leach Zambia that as soon as we get this report, without delay, we'll commence the payment to all the farmers that are in the report, the farmers that are affected. We've been ready from day one, and we've communicated this message to the farmers. We've communicated this message to government. Once we get the report officially, within the shortest possible time, we'll make sure we pay out all the farmers. We want to appreciate the farmers and all the stakeholders for the patience that they've exhibited thus far. And we are grateful for that patience because we know how difficult this process has been. The honorable ministers have mentioned this has been done by a multi-sectoral team of experts. They were on the ground doing very hard work in order to get this report. And we are pretty sure now that where we are coming from is very far. We can see light at the end of the tunnel, and we are only appealing to the ministers that will be looking at this report to ensure that in order to quench this anxiety that we have, this exercise is done as quickly and soon as possible so that we can move to the next stage. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, sorry, before you, compensation is one thing. Are we going to see the mine being compliant going forward?
Yes. And before you answer that one, Mr. Chair, in an event that after the ministers sit, if one minister decides to say, okay, there are a few things missing in the report, let's add them. Then they get back to you to say, we need to add in few things. Because already you're saying you're ready to pay. And obviously you have a budget. So are you still saying that even if something is added on, you still will be ready to pay?
And just the last one, maybe tell us what happened to the food supply. Why did you stop supplying the food to the affected families? According to them from first, you haven't been able to supply them with the food aid.
So thank you very much. When I said we have been ready to pay from day one, I didn't talk about the figure. Remember that experts had to get to the ground to do the work, come up with data, and that data translates into figures. We are not discussing the figure, we are talking about the payment. And I don't think it will be wise for us here to start jumping the gun. The Honorable has told us the ministers are yet to meet and then give us the verdict after that meeting. So for now, the report is with the ministers. We've been given the figures here now. I think all of us have gotten an idea of the figures. So whether the figure changes, the figure doesn't change, what we are saying is, Sinomentos is ready to pay. We are dealing with an expert report. Remember, the people on the ground are experts. They are more expert in these issues than us here. So whatever figure that the experts have given us, we are going to pay. The second question?
Compliance.
Compliance.
What was the question again?
The compensation is one issue. Yes. Are we going to see the mine being compliant going forward?
I think that if you look at mining is a highly regulated industry in this country. You don't just wake up and set up a mine. Before you set up a mine, there are things that are done. We heard what Honorable Minister of Mines alluded to. But then, with compliance, accidents do happen. And those are outside your control. What we are doing at Sinomentos now is to ensure that we look at what could have led to what happened and see how it can be done better. You have got other mining companies that will go through what we went through. These are things that are bound to happen. Ours is to ensure that we see how we can prevent them in future. Like I said, mining is a highly regulated industry in this country. You've got ZEMA, you've got MSD, you've got WAMA, you've got all these entities. They will regulate you before you set up a mine. But even with that regulations, accidents are bound to happen. Ours is to see how this can be prevented in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
Food aid.
Wonderful.
Food aid.
Thank you so much. I think the councillor is here. She can speak to that, but let me just explain this. We are all coming from homes here. We get our food on a monthly basis. We drink our water every day. We did sit down with the community and agreed. On the 1st May, you deliver the food supplement, the food rations. The food includes the mealie meal, cooking oil, and money for the relish. But water, you can't take it once a month. Water, we've got days in a week when we take the water. On a daily basis. On a daily basis, the councillor is here. So the food is meant to be given at the beginning of the month. And we understand, I think, from the farmers there's a concern. Remember, these are rations. And I want to make this clarification. The water and the food that we are giving the farmers is not factored into the compensation, because there's been that misinformation, which has to be corrected. That has got nothing to do with the compensation. That is a ration meant to cushion until the farmers get their packages. So,
With
wow.
The minister is expecting another meeting here with the pillars. At this point in time, thank you so much for the feedback from the companies. Would want to shift here now. The ministers want to talk about the presidential visit. Honorable Ministers.
I think mine is just to announce to the people of Copperbelt, the great people of Copperbelt province and the entire country that President Hakainde Hichilema, I'm sure we all know by now that he is walking his talk. When he said, "I'll make Copperbelt my second home," he has walked his talk, because every other month he's here to check what is happening on the ground, how are the people of Copperbelt are doing, how do we create jobs, are the mining operating properly. So I think just 2 weeks he was here commissioning Kaflafuta Dam. So I'm pleased to announce to everyone that the president will be coming tomorrow. He'll be coming to come and do the groundbreaking of the shaft at Lubambe. My brother, the Minister of Mine, is going to details when it comes to exactly what he's coming to do, and he will talk something to do with Lubambe and others. So the president will be coming tomorrow on the Copperbelt province, and you.